"This is the reading room," Cassandra the witch explained. She ushered them on towards a flickering light, coming from a large, raggedy hole in the furthest wall of the room. It looked like someone had smashed down part of the library wall. Bricks lay strewn around the hole, and bits of plasterwork hung at odd angles. "So many books," said Lo in a hushed voice. "Oh yes, and not just books, there's some wonderful maps," said Cassandra. "The library here was started in 1710. For the last 300 years, they've been collecting every book ever published. That's why we're here." She was cut off by a loud voice roaring through the hushed room. "Cat!" This was promptly followed by the sound of pounding feet, so heavy they made the floor bounce. "Hen's teeth!" cried Cassandra. "It's Glurt! Take cover!" Glurt the troll was as wide and as tall as a double-decker bus. His tiny eyes were fixed on Cat, and his thick arms were spread wide. "Slow down!" yelled Cat, waving her hands in front of her, but he had built up too much momentum. As he tried to slow, he stepped on a book trolley, which acted rather like an awkward roller skate, careering madly towards them, carrying his colossal bulk. "Run!" shouted Cassandra. If the trolley brake hadn't stuck fast at just that moment, they would almost certainly have been killed. As it was, Glurt flew through the air and slid along the floor on his tummy, coming to a stop only millimetres from their fleeing heels. Cassandra was not impressed. "Glurt, you must be more careful." "Cat!" was all Glurt could say as he happily hugged the girl to his rock-like chest, swinging her from side to side. Lo tapped one of Glurt's enormous ankles anxiously. Excuse me, Mr. Glurt, could you put her down now? I don't think she can breathe." Glurt paid no attention, hoisting Cat onto his shoulder and marching off towards the light. "Glurt's so happy to see Cat." "What is the meaning of all this noise?" a sharp voice called out from the other side of the hole. There was the sound of a book slamming onto a table. Glurt stooped to enter, oblivious to a large chunk of plaster thudding to the floor, dislodged by his hairless head. Cassandra and Lo followed. On the other side of the hole was a room that smelt deliciously of leather. The soft, warm walls were dark brown in colour, curving to a high point above, and they constantly moved, ever so slightly, in and out, in and out. Down the centre of the room stood a long black table, stacked high with books and papers. Above, hundreds of small balls of light whizzed and whirred. Glurt pulled Cat from his shoulder and patted her gently, shoving her towards the towering figure of a red-haired woman in flowing robes. "Cat's here!" Glurt beamed. The woman looked shocked, if not faintly appalled, but quickly recovered. "Cat, you are most welcome." She raised her arms regally. "As you can see, we are currently lodged here at the National Library in Edinburgh." She paused, regarding Cat thoughtfully through a glass monocle on a gold chain. "But then, I don't suppose you remember much of this place, or in fact of us?" "No," Cat replied hesitantly. "I'm sorry, but I don't know you, any of you at all. You seem to know me, though." "I am Mab, one of the witches of 9 Witches' Wood," pronounced the red-haired woman grandly. "You have met Cassandra." Cassandra nodded and smiled encouragingly at Cat. "That is Kikimora," continued Mab, a thin, sharp-featured woman with a headscarf tied tightly over her head, waved from between 2 towers of books. "Over there is Ceridwen." Mab signalled a large, jolly woman in a red and white polka-dot dress at the far end of the table, who called out, "Hello, my lovely!" "This is Lilith," a small, dark-haired woman with a heavy fringe and an enormous pair of round spectacles blinked rapidly at Cat. "Jezebel has gone to put the kettle on. Baba is somewhere around, and Alcina and Circe are out on important business. So there we are, introductions done." Mab sucked her thin lips until they disappeared, and came right up close to Cat, eyeing her again with the monocle. "But what I want to know is what exactly you are doing here."